Hey guys, this week I'm going to show you how I repainted my bootleg movie turtles that I ordered off Amazon a couple weeks ago. And the first coat is a clear coat of acrylic matte varnish. The one I use is by Liquitex, and it's for plastic among other things. That's why I use this particular one. And for the weapons, I had straightened out Leo's sword there, but after a couple days it just went back to the weird shape it was in when I got it. So at that point, I'll talk about that later. Michelangelo's shell was sticking out weird, it wasn't on properly, so I took it off and now I'm warming it up with hair dryer so that I can stretch it into place, and that's why I drilled those holes a little bigger with my hand drill, and that's fit together nicely. But because of the way the bandana is there, I decide to take off all the shells, and I mark it with some red paint on the inside so I know whose is who and which is which. But Michelangelo, I'm going to leave his shell on and let that sit for a day so that it stays in the shape that I put it on when I heat it up with the hair dryer. Yes, hair dryer. So I'm painting Raph with a hunter green, and this is just the base coat, so I'm covering all of his skin, and that's all of them now painted. But Mikey, he has started off darker. All the other ones were the same color, the same light color, but I give him anyway just to make it blend in with his brothers a little better. So now that it's in the right shape, I take that off and mark it with some orange paint, and I move on to dry brushing. I'm using a leaf green, and now all the details are going to come out. I had originally thought that I would paint on the pop marks, or like the little black spots that they have on their face and shoulders and stuff. But when I started dry brushing, these toys, they already have little divots and dents in them, and dry brushing the lighter color, it makes the pop marks just look like the freckles or whatever. And I thought if I paint spots over those, then they'll still have the divots and it'll be painted. So I chose at around that point to not do the circles, because they're already there from the dry brushing and from the sculpt. And I move on to a burnt umber, and I'm going to get all the details of the shell mainly, and well, the front shell. I painted the whole back shell as a base coat, but I had painted that green, but that's just to get some layers of paint on there to have a good sturdy coat. But I fill in on all the turtles with the burnt umber and do another coat on the shells. Now I'm painting all of their pads and armbands, wristbands, knee pads. I'm painting those all with the burnt umber. And Donnie's hand or arm happened to come off while I was doing that. It makes it a little easier. Could have done that with all the turtles and all the limbs, but it wasn't really necessary. I didn't have trouble getting into any spots. I've moved on to a raw sienna. This is the color that is going to be kind of the main shell color of the shell there. And I went through a couple paint brushes to get the right one, and just doing a little bit at a time, thin layers, until I get it to the right color that I want. And all the little cracks are staying with the brown. That's why I'm just lightly dry brushing. And then covering the shells as well. That rhymes. With the same raw sienna. And I have a cousin named Sienna. And now I'm painting the belts with the raw sienna, just doing a light, kind of uneven coat to let the brown show through. And I'm doing a Nicolazo Gold. It's by Golden Paints. It came in a pack of like a bunch of different paints and stuff. and that's the only one I use. I like it. It's like an orangish brown with a shine, and it kind of looks like leather when you put it on top of brown. Now this is the hardest part, and the part that I'm always afraid to do is the eyes. So I'm using a toothpick so I can get a little bit of more steady touch, because I myself have bad eyes and shaky hands. But I don't make jazz, I make hip hop. Now I'm giving a little bit of paint to each of their bandanas because they need some touch-ups, because the paint work was not great on them. Because again, they were Amazon bootleg movie turtles. They cost me with tax about 30 bucks Canadian. I have a link down below if you want to try this for yourself. I think they were 23 American the last time I checked, but I'll probably have a Canadian link and American link down in the description. So now I tried to put the belt on. I liked the way the belt came out, but after the layers of paint, the belt didn't fit properly. So I have some suede lace here, and I'm painting that with the burnt umber to get that to match the screen images a little better, and glue that down with some Gorilla Super Glue, and yeah, just wrap around it on the movie turtles. Leo and Donnie here have like a high belt with bands connecting over top to hold their large weapons. So Leo got 2 bands of a thinner suede lace that I got from like the dollar store or the craft store or craft section of a store. But I'm putting a loop on the back of Donnie's strap so that it holds his bow staff. And I didn't do for Leo the loops for his swords, because I have to make new swords for him because he needs 2 swords, and that sword is very weird looking. But as a last little detail, I put a black wash in their teeth to make the lines pop out more, so their teeth pop out more, and just get a little in the cracks and wipe off from the top. And now that's what they look like. Leo looks good. Mikey still looks funny, but he looks much better. Raph, his eyes were the hardest, but Donnie's, his eyes could still use a little work if I do another video for the weapons. But I stuck their weapons the way they were in there. The weird shape of the sword actually fit great on his back, the shape of his shell. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, always keep your head up. Peace.